Hello everyone, welcome to another Youth Tutors video. Today we will be doing a brief introduction on fractions and more specifically how to add them. So let's get started. First, there's something we have to identify about fractions, and that is the top and the bottom. What is this? What is the math terminology for these two common places in a fraction? So here, the 1 is called our numerator, otherwise known as the number on top, more informally. And then the 7 on the bottom is a denominator. So the way I think about it is that if it has DE, that's just the one at the bottom. So numerator is the top, denominator is the bottom. We must also make clear that this line right here is not just a line separating the top and bottom. No, it actually stands for division. And a fraction is ultimately a division problem. The top is being divided by the bottom. So in this case, 1 is being divided by 7. The number on top is the one that goes inside of the division bracket, and the bottom goes on the outside. So in other words, the numerator in a division, in any kind of fraction, is the one being divided by the denominator, as we can see here. But now let's go into addition. What do we need when we're adding fractions? So actually, when we're adding fractions, it's a lot more simple. I just wanted to make that clear because in the future, when we talk about multiplication and other important fraction topics, you do have to know these clear principles. But here, in addition, the rule you have to know is that the only way to add or subtract fractions is by having a common denominator. In other words, these numbers right here at the bottom must be the same. So let's start with this. We have 1 over 2 and 3 over 4. Are the denominators the same? Clearly not, so we can't add them. Now, how do we make the denominators the same? So it's actually pretty simple. Between these two numbers, is there already anything in common? That's a simple question to ask. Well, I know I can make 2 a 4, so what we could do is we could go the easy way. We could just leave the 4 as it is and just make 1/2 with the denominator of 4. And how do we do that? Well, we can just multiply 2 by 2. And whatever we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. That's another rule. So that becomes 2 over 4 because 1 times 2 is 2 and 2 times 2 is 4. Now we have an equivalent fraction, 2 over 4 plus 3 over 4. Are the denominators the same? Yes, that means we could add them. So as you can see here, 1/2 didn't just disappear. No, we multiplied 1/2 times 2, as you can see, by 2 over 2 basically, and we got 2 over 4. So that's an equivalent fraction. What it means is it's the same fraction, it just has a different denominator per se, or it's still equivalent to each other or equal to each other, but we just multiplied it to get that common denominator. And now all we do is we keep the denominators the same, which is another common misconception. People tend to add denominators. No, we keep them the same. We just add the numerators, the top portions, to get 5 over 4. That is our final answer, our sum. And later on, we're going to talk about this number because as you can see, the top is greater than the bottom. So we have to turn it into a mixed number by doing this, which we actually talked about this in another one of our videos. So check it out. But what you do is you have to divide 5 by 4, remember. 4 times 1 is 4. We subtract, we get 1, and that 1 goes on top, and 4. So 1, 1, 4 is our final answer in mixed number form. Let's go on to the second number. So again, we have two different denominators we can't add, but the easy way to go here is simply by turning 6 into 12, since we know that 6 could be multiplied to get 12. So what times 6 gives us 12? Well, that's 2. So remember, whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So we also have to multiply 5 by 2 to get 10, and 6 times 2 is 12. This is equivalent to this original fraction. It's the same, we just multiplied to get that common denominator. So now we have 10 over 12 plus 2 over 12, which gives us 12 over 12. And that actually is just equal to 1. Remember, any fraction, so 5 over 5 is 1. 6 over 6 is 1. Any time the numerator and denominator are the same, that automatically becomes 1. And that actually makes sense because, again, keeping in mind this line means division. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Okay, now finally, let's do a subtraction problem. Again, it's the same procedure, but this time instead of adding the numerators, we're subtracting them. We have 14 here and 7 here. Can we get 14 from 7? Yes, we can. So we can just multiply 2 times 7, 2 over 7, excuse me, by 2, which is what gives us 14. So 7 times 2 is 14, 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 7 over 14 minus 4 over 14. Remember, denominators stay the same. We just subtract or add the numerators. In this case, we're subtracting. 7 minus 4 is 3. So our final answer is 3 over 14. Now, I also want to make it clear that in all of these examples, let's actually go back to this one. You could have easily not used 4 as the common denominator. You could have said, well, 2 and 4 have 8 in common, right? 2 times 4 is 8 and 4 times 2 is 8, so I want to use 8 as my common denominator. You could have easily done that. You could have said 1/2, I want a denominator of 8, so what times 2 gives us 8? That's 4. So we're going to do 1 times 4 at the top, too, because remember, whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top, and we get 4 over 8. Now, 3 over 4, how can I get a denominator of 8? Well, I have to multiply by 2. And here I have to multiply by 2 because whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 times 2 is 6. So you would get 4 over 8 plus 6 over 8, which becomes 4 plus 6 is 10. We keep 8 as the common denominator. We get 10 over 8. And actually, something really interesting about this is if we simplify the fraction, meaning 10 and 8 both have 2 as a common factor, we can just divide by 2. We're going to get 5 over 4. And that is the exact same thing we got when we used 4 as our common denominator, which ends up proving that regardless of whatever common denominator you use, in the end, you should always get the same answer. It's just a matter of which one's simpler to find. As always, I hope this video was helpful. Please leave a comment with any kinds of suggestions or questions. We would gladly answer them. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you have a great day.